Hello, David here with
Courtney.
And this is episode 14 of the Post-Race Podcast. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. I feel like I say that every time we're doing this. But anyways, today is different because we're actually doing two races.
That I did not do either of.
Yep, we're doing two races in one episode. Partly because these were back-to-back. And so, I mean, it kind of makes sense from that aspect because they were 1 week right after the other. And because, spoiler alert, I DNF'd the first of the two races. So that's the one we're going to talk about first. It will be the Sun Mountain 50 miler was the first race I did 2 weeks ago. And then last week I did the Smith Rock Ascent 50k. So, and that one was last minute, but we'll talk more about that when we get to that in the section. Depending on what you want to listen to, you can probably skip ahead if you aren't interested in the Sun Mountain 50 miler DNF that we're going to cover first. You can skip ahead to whatever time code that is. I'll have that in the description below. Or if you're listening to this via some podcast app, it'll be in the show notes. So anyways, let's get started.
All right.
So first things first, I guess. The race itself, the Sun Mountain 50 miler. So this, I signed up for this, I don't even know when, and probably
the beginning of the year, close to.
Oh, yeah, definitely a while ago. I think it was because I didn't get into the 50K, which happens the weekend after. But the area itself, so this takes place out in Winthrop, Washington, which is, again, on the eastern side of the Cascade Range.
Super pretty.
Yeah, the area is amazingly beautiful. So I guess I'll read the actual description from the course so that I'll let the race directors speak for themselves. Located on the eastern, eastern side. Located on the eastern and sunny side of the North Cascades, on the edge of the Chelan Sawtooth Wilderness, above the Metho River Valley, these courses offer great mountain trail running early in the year. You can expect fields of wildflowers, beautiful snow-capped peaks of the... Jesus, I suck at reading. Let me restart that. You can expect fields of wildflowers, beautiful snow-capped peaks of the Cascades in the distance, and stunning single track. In partnership with the Metho... Okay, the rest of this is whatever. But yeah, that's the description. The course itself has in between 7,000 and 8,000 feet of gain. They say it's a great beginner 50 miler.
Do you agree with that?
Not really. And I'll get into that. But I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on the weather.
Because I was going to say, if it wasn't so hot, would you?
Yeah. The good thing about it is it does have a pretty generous cutoff. So you have 14 hours to do it. So overall, I think, yeah, I mean, it probably is fairly beginner friendly in a lot of ways. But again, the weather kind of made that a little bit difficult, especially because it was early in the year. But yeah, so that's kind of the description. Again, it's up near Winthrop, Washington. And again, Winthrop is a really cool town because it's kind of got this old Western theme to it. Yeah, it is up near the North Cascades.
Did you want to go through what we did last time as far as
we'll
rating?
Do the ratings before we jump into the actual day of race and stuff. But yeah, so again, I was doing this alone. Courtney wasn't signed up for it. She was just going to crew and pace me. And so that was my plan, was to just run the 50 miler. I thought, hopefully by this time in the year, which was May, the beginning of May. I forget the exact dates.
Yeah, I don't remember the date. May 11th.
Yep. So May 11th is when this actually took place, on a Saturday. And it actually took place at the Sun Mountain Lodge.
Which that was really pretty.
The lodge is super cool. So I guess let's just jump into the rating. And we'll do what we did in the last episode and hopefully all episodes in the future, where we kind of go through some questions and kind of rate the race itself.
So the value of the race.
Overall, I think this race was actually a little bit expensive. It was $155 or so, and that did not include a shirt.
Did you get a medal? Does it include a medal if you finish?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just
like a cup or something.
Yeah, I think you get a finisher's glass, like a pint glass or something like that. I don't know. The bib is kind of cool. You can see the bib up here. So that was one thing you got. which was nice, I guess. It was kind of cool. The shirts I did really like, but again, they were, they cost extra. So I think in total I paid like 180 maybe or 90 even. I don't remember exactly.
Did you get a shirt?
Yeah, I got a shirt. And it looks really cool. I like the shirt a lot. Value. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have some gripes about the race. So again, full disclosure, I did not finish it. So I quit at mile 20-ish almost. Really, I think it's like 18.7 at aid station 3, I believe is what it was.
Aid station 3, yeah.
And I mean, largely I quit because the weather was going to be very hot that day, and it was already like low 80s by the time I got in there at like 10 a.m. And I just knew I wasn't going to be prepared for that. And because this is taking place on the eastern side of the Cascades,
there's no shade.
Yeah, there's no shade. It's very exposed, and a little old Western Pacific Northwest boy like myself that's just been living in shade basically my whole life. I wasn't quite ready for that. So I dropped and decided to live to run another day. Anything that I'm talking about, bear in mind, I did not finish it. So I might be a little extra salty because of that. But anyways, value, I don't know. I guess if I had to rate the value, I'd say like 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10. And again, this race, well, not again because I didn't mention it yet, but the race is actually put on by Rain Shadow Running, which this is my second Rain Shadow Running DNF this year. So they did the Yakima Skyline Rim 50k that I also did not finish. Yeah. I don't know. Did you have any?
I was going to say I probably don't have much input to say. It was definitely really pretty, but I think had I ran it, I would have been the same as you. It was just too hot this year. Like just a hot year.
In terms of value, did you?
I don't know much about it. Like I wouldn't be able to say.
That's fair.
So aid stations.
Again, so I only went to the first 3, but one of the big gripes I had was they said there would be ice because it was going to be hot, and definitely in the first 2 aid stations there was no ice, and everyone that was going through was like, do you guys have ice? Do you guys have ice? And they're like, no, we don't. So that was kind of lame. And then I don't know what it is about Rain Shadow Running events. I swear to God, they don't like wash out their water bins or something properly, or they fill them up like weeks before. But my God, it just like any water I get from these races tastes like plastic. It tastes like you bought a cheap, those big jugs of water you can buy at like Walmart or Safeway or whatever that are like, whatever, a couple bucks and it's like 5 gallons or whatever. Anyways, I swear they just buy a bunch of those and then leave them in the sun for like 5 weeks and then, put them in old plastic bins and then let them sit for another 10 weeks. The water just tastes disgusting to me. And I have super sensitive taste buds, so I'm sure it's not the same to everyone else.
He has.
But it seriously like
buds.
Makes me want to throw up when I drink their water. It's so plastic tasting. I hate it. So, to each their own, but I absolutely hate their water and it makes me sick. So that did not help me in any way. And the thought of drinking that for the rest of the day too was another contributing factor to why I was like, screw this. I'm not going to even bother. Yeah.
I actually can say a little about the aid stations.
Oh, and I would rate the aid stations 5 out of 10.
So I drove to the 3rd aid station, and first of all, the directions were wrong. So that's a little annoying when you're having to cruise somebody and the directions are not accurate. But they were about a mile or so off of where it really should have been. So that was a little bit annoying. And then I sat there for about 2 hours. I got there pretty early. So I sat there for about 2 hours, kind of just watching the runners come in and just observing, just the aid station itself. And they definitely didn't have, they said they didn't have ice, but they had ice, but they weren't really giving it out. So that was a little annoying. If I would have been a runner, I think that would have, had it been so hot, you should have been giving ice out. Especially when you say you have ice. So they weren't really giving it to anybody. They were kind of like, if a runner asked for ice, they would I don't know. They didn't want people to know that they had it. So they were very light with like giving out ice. And then
That was just at aid station 3 though.
yes, at aid station 3.
The first two, they straight up said they did not have any.
Yeah, and they were also saying at aid station 4 that there was food, and there wasn't food. So that was kind of false hope. I mean, I just felt that like they should have been a little bit more informed if they're going to be working the aid station.
Yeah, so aid station 4 was a water only aid station.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was just a little chaotic, I felt, just watching a lot of the workers at the aid station trying to help out. They just didn't really seem to know what was going on, and so I would say probably a 4 on my rating, just watching them and watching all the runners just get a little bit frustrated with the heat and not having what they thought they were going to have. So, I don't know. Not great.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
A 4 for me, 5 for you. Volunteers.
I mean, that's pretty much the same as aid station, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, the
can't
people
say enough. I don't know much.
Yeah, the people were nice enough. I don't know. I would say it was kind of average, so I don't know, maybe like a 7 out of 10. Nobody was mean to me or anything like that.
Same. I had nobody. Everybody was really nice to me, just sitting at aid station 3 and at the start. So.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, kind of like what Courtney said, there was definitely some what seemed like more inexperienced people that may have been working the aid stations. And I definitely, in all 3 aid stations I visited, not one person like filled up my water for me or anything. Really? I had to do it myself, which was, to be fair though, I was coming in with clumps of people. So when there is like 5 or 6 people all coming in at once, you either stand in line and wait, or you just kind of move your way in and do it yourself. So not a huge gripe, but it seemed like they were going very slow and, probably not their,
I will agree with that. Yeah, it was pretty accurate. The same at aid station 3.
But either way, it's hard to complain about volunteers.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's willing to give up their free time to come do this, all good on you. So
totally. Parking.
Ooh.
And kind of getting to the location. So.
Well, so like we said, the race actually took place at the Sun Mountain Lodge, which is a really beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not. This is another big gripe I had with the race, and it plays into the parking and getting there and everything like that. So I think this race would have been very, very awesome if it had a quarter of the people running in it.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a ton of people in the race. I think it was capped at 250 people, and it should have been like, realistically, I feel like 100 to 150. I know that's a little different than what I just said, but especially, so when it comes to the parking and stuff, it's like the parking was definitely a little bit of a mess. You had to park like a half mile almost away from the start of the race and then walk out there.
It was pretty limited too, the parking. I mean, we obviously got a spot, but if you came somewhat late, you probably wouldn't get much of a spot. You'd have to just park on the road and walk down.
Yeah, I didn't really like that too much, and then the race itself. It was about a half
a mile to the start that you were walking.
Yeah, and well, I guess I'll talk about the race itself and how it was overcrowded later. Getting there, it's far away from a lot of stuff. Like, you're not likely to live close to Winthrop, and it's not like it's close to any airports or anything like that. So,
was it 4 hours for us? 3.5?
Oh, it was almost 5.
Was it?
So it's pretty far away from where we are. I mean, from Seattle, I think it's more like 3 hours or something like that. But, yeah, it's out there, but it's definitely a beautiful area and it's worth driving to. And I mean, honestly, it was one of my favorite places I've ran.
Really?
It's just, I wish the circumstances were a little bit different with the weather and things like that. So yeah, I guess the parking and stuff, I don't know, probably like again, a 5 out of 10, because I hate showing up to a race and then having to walk. If it's more than a quarter-ish mile, then it's probably too
honestly
far.
That's the furthest I've ever walked to a start. I didn't do the race, and I didn't know that you had to walk that far to the start. But David said that it was in the profile saying, you had to walk quite a bit to the start.
It's not like they threw this on us last minute. So this was in the description or whatever in the pre-race emails.
It was thrown on me last minute because I didn't read any of that. But
well, we kind of got screwed over because we stayed at the lodge.
I was going to say.
Which, again, you kind of have to if you're going to do the race. Otherwise, you're driving really early in the morning out from somewhere else. So you don't have to. But, I mean, it definitely makes it easier if you stay at the lodge. But when I signed up for the lodge, which was like, 3-4 months ago, I had told them, I'm like, yeah, I'm there for the race. And so they gave me a bit of a discount, which still was expensive. It was like $180 or $90 a night at the room that we stayed in.
With a mountain view. It
did have a mountain view, yeah. And well, I told them, I'm like, yeah, I want to be as close to the start finish as possible. Like, apparently this is happening at, I think it's Patterson Cabins or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I want to be as close to the start finish as possible. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll put you in a room that's right next to it. And I was like, great. I didn't think of it anymore after that. And then we showed up, and it turns out that we're
over a mile.
We were like 2.5 miles. Like, yeah, the actual cabins, we got put in a room that was right next to the lodge. The cabins themselves are like 2 miles down the road. And so, because I was just like, great, I'll just, already have my spot because we're staying there, and I won't have to worry about parking at all. Well, not true. So, I mean, yeah, it kind of sucked because we had to wake up that morning super early and then worry about getting parking still. And we didn't know that until we showed up, which, I could have researched a little bit better beforehand, but I just kind of took the person's word when I, reserved the room. So that kind of sucked. But, it wasn't a big deal at the time. It was just kind of a bummer because I knew that we'd have to wake up earlier and have to drive, and I was hoping to avoid all that, but anyways,
yeah, just the walk was daunting.
Yeah, it was a little annoying.
The way up was kind of funny because there was a couple in front of me that had kids, and there was probably like 80 people that were walking back up, and so this couple in front of me had kids, and the kids were like complaining the whole time having to walk back up, and the parents just felt terrible because there was just this long line of people behind them, but no one cared because they were all going really slow, so they were happy to have kids just walking slowly, but it was just funny. All right. Difficulty.
Yeah, so the course itself, I mean, it really wasn't too difficult per se. It did have a decent amount of climbing. I mean, when they say beginner 50 miler, I think to me, it's more intermediate, just because it still has like almost 8,000 feet of climbing, which is kind of a lot to some people. I mean, the climbing wasn't really an issue for me. I think when I dropped at mile almost 20, it was
like 5,000 or like 4,500.
Yeah, it was a little over 4,000. So, but the trails are beautiful. Like I said, I mean, the trails are absolutely gorgeous. The area is super pretty, so I like it a lot, or I liked it a lot.
Was this the race where you said you couldn't pass anybody?
Yeah.
So how, like, were the trails just super like single track? No.
Yeah, they were really tight single track for a lot of it. Although you would kind of go off on sections that were a little bit more open and a little bit more of a road for a little bit. But again, I only got to see the first, third almost of the race. So, I can only speak to that part of it. But that part of it was beautiful. And the trails weren't, super technical or super crazy or anything. I mean, beauty was like 10 out of 10. Difficulty, I don't know. Not that difficult. So overall, I don't know how that's, I don't remember how we rated that for
I think
Tiger
we just
Claw,
combined.
but
yeah. I think what you're doing is good.
Yeah, I don't know. It was great. I like the trails a lot. I would love to go back there.
We should go back there just for I don't know about a race, but yeah. So pre and post race activities.
There really
Little
wasn't.
to none.
Yeah, there really wasn't much pre-race, anyways. And then post-race, we pretty much left early, so we didn't really do much in the post-race. I know they do serve, wood-fired pizza and stuff. And it did look pretty cool how the kind of post-race party they had set up down at the cabins.
Yeah, that did look cool. Kind of reminded me of like a camp or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll refrain from rating that because, like I said, I didn't see the post-race party, but I'm sure it was cool.
But you also couldn't pick up your bib the day before, too. You had to pick your bib up
Yeah,
the day of.
I hate that. I hate it when
too.
people don't allow for that. I mean, I understand
makes it more
things are-
stressful in the morning when you're already like stressed about getting there on time, stressed about parking, and then you have one more thing to add on to that. So
Yeah, especially when the race starts at 6 a.m. It makes it pretty rough. So yeah, it added another layer of annoyance having to wake up even more early to go pick up your bib. And so it would have been nice to have a Friday pickup at the lodge or something like that. I don't know why they couldn't do that, but it'd be nice.
And then swag, which we already kind of touched on, but no shirt.
Well,
cup at
they
the
had
end.
shirts you could buy.
Well, yeah.
Which I did buy, and it was really cool. So, yeah, added cost, which detracts from it a bit, but the shirts were super cool. One of my favorite designs, really. I don't know if you can see it, but it's this wolf with the mountains on
yes,
it.
I do remember because I wore it that day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool shirt, and
it is a cool shirt.
Yeah.
I do remember now.
I don't
That's all
know.
we've got for the rating of the race.
Yeah, I mean, I guess overall for me, I'd probably rate the race as a whole like a 5 out of 10.
I thought it seemed like something that I would like to do in the future. It seemed fun. Just the weather itself was like, meh. I don't want to be hot.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it wasn't like that crazy of a day, which we didn't really touch base on at all, it was, I think you did say actually it was 80, but it was a really hot day. I think it got to 93 that day, and he got done running at like 10:30 or something, and it was already like 82 degrees. So it was a hot day.
Yeah, it was super hot. I think I don't think I'll do another rain shadow running event.
Oh no.
I think at least not for a while. I don't know. Like I said, the water, which I know is stupid, but if you have sensitive taste buds, especially when it comes to like plasticky type tastes, I can't deal with that anymore.
He is bad about that too.
Yeah, unless I can like carry my own water for the entire race, I'm probably not going to do another one of their races just because it's too gross.
I don't think I've done enough of their races to notice that taste.
I don't know if you've done any of their races.
I was going to say, I don't know.
I mean, I did volunteer at one of the races, and I did see the cleanliness of their of their aid station stuff, which left a little bit to be desired. But
No.
I mean, overall, they put on good events. It's just I think they're maybe not right for me. So I think I'm gonna refrain from doing their runs for a while. And I don't know, maybe next year we'll see. But because they do put on some cool places, but it's just, yeah, I mean, the no bib pickup early and things like that I'm just not a huge fan of. So, all right.
Is that how they always do it? Because
I
they
mean,
also
I don't know
did
if
that
that's
at
how they always, but that's definitely
or what's that called? What was that?
Yakima.
Oh yeah, Yakima Skyline. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so next race.
No, we have to go over the actual race.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, it's only 20 miles or so I'll kind of be quick. But I mean, so we drove down to Winthrop. We had a really nice room, which didn't have a TV, which was weird, but had an old radio.
Yeah, and it was playing some weird music too.
Yeah, and we actually had 2 nights there. So we were going to stay there Friday and Saturday, and the race was Saturday. So I was going to, recoup that next day. But yeah, I quit. And so what we did was we actually checked out.
That's our cat. Sorry about that.
We checked out of the race, or we checked out of the hotel right after I DNF'd, and they ended up just giving me my money back for the second night, which was cool. And then we hightailed it down to Leavenworth.
Yeah.
But anyways, the
pretzels
race
and brats.
Yeah, which were awesome. The race itself, another contributing factor to my DNF. Like I said, it was overcrowded, which is another reason why rain shadow running events maybe I'm not too keen of. But yeah, the start of the race, you're on a road for like a half mile or a little bit over a half mile, and then it gets onto tight single track, And I literally just had to sit there and wait in line for like over a minute. Maybe it was closer to like 2 or 3 minutes where I was just waiting. Like I had to stop completely and just stand there, which was pretty lame when you're, getting ready to do a big climb and you're doing a 50-mile race and you're half mile in, you're all rip roaring ready to go. And then you just have to wait there for like a couple minutes. It's pretty lame. So, like I said, I think it would have been a lot better had they reduced the amount of people that could be in this race down to, say maybe 150 people instead of whatever, 200, 250 that it was. That would have made it a lot more enjoyable for me, at least. And I imagine a lot of other people. And it was kind of lame because really all the way from that point up to aid station 1, it was just like a conga line. It was really frustrating in a lot of ways. So I didn't like that, and it kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth right from the beginning. And I knew the heat was coming, and my gear that I was wearing kind of sucked. Like it wasn't working well for me. So, yeah, that was pretty much the race for me. I mean, I was cruising along, and I felt really good at mile 20. I mean, when I came in to see Courtney, I was like, I feel fine, but I don't want to be hot all day, and I know it's going to get way hotter than this. So
Yeah.
So I think I'm just done.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to go back out. So I'm like trying to feed him stuff and give him, water and Mountain Dew and whatever we had. And I think at one point I was like, okay, are you going to like change your shirt? And he was like, oh, I already stopped my watch. Like, I'm done. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I stopped my watch right when I got into that aid station because I knew that I was done. And I was already thinking about bratwurst from Leavenworth. So I knew it was over. And yeah, I don't know. That was pretty much it. Nothing too eventful happened. Really didn't have that great of a reason to quit. It was just kind of one of those days. So.
It was fun, though. The weekend was really fun.
Yeah, I had a great time. I mean, all things considered, I had a really good time. I don't view it as like a waste of money or anything like that. It was a good experience either way. And, it was a good training run. Really, just a good little 19-mile training run.
And the hotel had a really nice tub, too.
Oh, yeah. I took 2 baths.
Mm-hmm.
One the night before and one the day after, or the day of.
So
yeah. I don't think there's anything else that I really want to talk about or cover for the race. Overall, didn't really like it all that much. Liked the trails, though.
What was your favorite part about the race? Do you have a favorite?
I mean, just
the
the
trails
just the trails themselves. Like, it would be so much more enjoyable to have just stayed there for 2 days without a race. Like, I think it would have been a lot nicer. So.
Okay, that's really it. It says what's next, but I mean, we're going to talk about the next race. So.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for Sun Mountain. That's kind of a dud. Second DNF of the year, third DNF of my life. Kind of a bummer in some ways, but I kind of didn't give a shit and still don't. So it's just one of those things. I do need to get a 50. I have never done a 50 miler.
Oh, yeah.
That distance is, I'm 0 for 2. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, Squamish is not something that I'm really excited about. I'll tell you that. So anyways, that's it for Sun Mountain. This officially now starts the Smith Rock Ascent 50k discussion, review, whatever you want to call it. So the Smith Rock Ascent. This race is in just north of Bend, Oregon in Smith Rock State Park. It's put on by Go Beyond Racing. You may remember them from Mountain Lakes 100. They are the same race organization.
And I wasn't able to go to this with him. I had to work, so I was kind of bummed because this looked like a really cool race. The area was awesome, and I really wanted to do the 15-miler the day after, and I didn't get to, so that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, so this is kind of a, dare I say, iconic race that takes place. I guess it's still considered the Pacific Northwest. It's on the dry side of Oregon, and it's a beautiful area. So I did take a bunch of video. I guess I'll probably overlay it during this part of the part of the podcast if you're watching this on YouTube, like I've done for some of the other podcasts. Just to give you an idea of the trails and stuff that we were running on, or I was running on. And yeah, so anyways, this took place last weekend. That was the 18th. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of an iconic area. So it's a super beautiful park. It actually, I believe it runs outside the park as well, because I think the park is a little bit small. And for me, this was totally last minute. So I think it was maybe Thursday before the race.
That's why I couldn't go, because I already was scheduled to work. I tried to get it covered, but I couldn't.
Yeah, and it was fine. I mean, I didn't really want you to go, not to sound rude, but it was just something that I just kind of got in my head like I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, like Thursday afternoon, I think I saw a post, because I follow Go Beyond on Facebook, or actually no, not on Facebook, on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram, and I saw on Instagram they were like, hey, there's day of race sign up for the 50k, there's still spots left. And I was like, oh great, maybe I should go do that, because I haven't ran an ultra since the 100 miler. Like it's been whatever, 7 months or something like that. So I was like, dang, I keep striking out on these other ultras, like I need to just get one under the belt for the year. And I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna drive down there after work on Friday and just find a hotel and then just go do the thing and then drive back up after. So that was kind of the idea I had in my head. Although I still asked Courtney, I'm like, yeah, here's what we could do. Let me know if it works for you or whatever. And, I know it's short notice, so it doesn't really matter. If you can't do it, that's fine. I'm happy to go alone. And that's how it worked out. So that was kind of the plan. I was going to go there alone, do it alone, and finish alone.
Alicia and I were going to do this together, but I told her it was too far away and that we couldn't. Isn't that funny, though?
That you and her couldn't?
Well, I told her that 5 hours was too far away from the house and I wasn't going to drive there. But she said that we should do this one together because she did it last year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we were going to plan to do a race together. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of far away. Like, I don't think we'll be able to do that. And then
you and her were going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's funny is I actually talked to Alicia too before, I think. I don't remember if it was Friday night, like the night before the race, or if it was that Thursday night.
Oh, did you post something and then she?
Oh no, I just I DM'd her on Instagram and I was just like, do you got any tips for Smith Rock? Because I think I'm just going to try to sneak in and do it. Day of race sign up. And I think she probably thinks that I'm a better runner than I am, because she was like, oh, it's very runnable. And, the hills aren't that bad or whatever, but the last one really sucks. Watch out for it or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, I am not running up hills. Screw that. So that was kind of, but yeah, because that was her first 50K. And so, yeah, I'm sure that probably holds a special place in her heart. Although my first 50K doesn't. That was kind of a bad experience for me. But anyways.
You just didn't choose a really pretty one. That's why.
Yeah, it kind of was. It was on the Pacific Crest Trail. Bridge of the Gods. Anyways, so yeah, she gave me some good advice that I did not heed. I messaged her again, actually, during the race when I was going up the last hill, and I was like, dude, fuck this hill. Like, this fucking sucks.
What was the elevation?
The overall elevation for the course, like the climbing, was 4,500. I don't remember. I'd have to look at Strava. It felt really long.
Yeah.
Just seemed like it kept going when it should have been over already. So anyways, yeah, this was all last minute. I did get off work at Friday at like 3:30 or so. And then I drove straight from work down to Bend, Oregon. And I mean, I just drove straight down there. I stopped at Dairy Queen and a couple of gas stations along the way. Ate this really gross Dairy Queen sandwich.
A sandwich from Dairy Queen? You haven't had... He's never had a burger from McDonald's, but he'll get a sandwich from Dairy Queen? Are you kidding me?
Truth. That's the truth.
Like, who's never had a burger
Well, it was
from
really
McDonald's?
gross, too, because it was a bacon chicken ranch or something. And they, smothered ranch on it.
And they probably put it in a microwave.
I'm sure. And yeah, it was not good. Dairy Queen is such shit tier food.
Dairy
I
Queen
hate it.
only has good chicken tenders. Nothing else on their menu is good. Their burgers are disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like only the chicken tenders, and the fries aren't
Well,
even good.
Oh, the fries are horrible, but
It's
chicken
just
tenders
and
are
the
okay.
bread. The bread is okay.
And then, of course, their frozen treats are good.
Well, yeah.
Like Blizzards and whatever. That's a different thing.
Yeah,
but
that's not even
their
like, you
actual
can't
food,
compare
dude.
that.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. They used to have these really good. Well, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about Dairy Queen.
I mean, it's what I had before the race,
Yeah, well.
and it sucks. And I regretted it. Like right after. I mean, I ate it still, but I regretted it. Like right after I ate it, I was like, man, never again. But then I will probably again at some point. But anyways, it was a long drive. Yeah, it took me like 5 hours to get down there. And of course, going, from north to south, from Olympia down to Bend, the traffic kind of sucked because it was like 5 p.m. going through some of those areas. So that kind of was a little lame, but the drive is beautiful. I mean, especially once you get into Oregon and stuff. So it was very pleasant. And I drive a new Subaru Forester, which has adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist, which, man, that saved me on the way back from the race.
You basically
I'll tell
don't
you that.
even drive.
But yeah, it's that I can't live without it now. I mean, that plus Android Auto, I mean, it's really just a great driving experience if you're going to and from races and trails and things like that. So,
Or road trips.
yeah, road trips too, which is part of what we do. So,
And also, I should probably add, I haven't heard anything about this. I've been dying to hear about his race. And he said I had to wait for the podcast. So it's been a week. And so I'm
now that I've
now
forgotten
hearing
everything.
all of this.
yeah, I'm probably misremembering most of it now, but whatever. Luckily, I made a video that did. Yeah, actually, that's the first race video I've made this year.
I think so.
That actually had like commentary and stuff to it.
I was going to say you're one falling, but.
Yeah. So, okay, let me think about how I want to do this.
Well, do you want to do the format of this, or do you want to just talk about it?
I almost feel like the rating should come after.
I think you're right, because it kind of takes away from the race.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do the rating after from now on. Although I think originally we did it before because there's probably people that listen just to see what the race is like and they just want to know.
That's what you were saying. But I think it should be after.
Yeah. I mean, barely anyone listens to this anyway, so if you are one of the few listeners and you have a voice or an opinion about
before or after.
Yeah. So, okay, let's just get into it. So I stayed at a Motel 6, which fucking sucked. Like it was a total shitbag hotel. What was funny, so I drive down there and I'm checking for hotels at like 3:00 on Friday at my work as I'm about to leave. I'm like just looking on my phone. I was hoping to have, because I travel with my work a lot and well, not a lot, but a fair amount. And so I have like some hotel reward points from Hilton and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh great, I'll just find a Hilton hotel, probably get it for like half price if I use my points, and I'll be golden. There's no Hiltons anywhere near that aren't sold out. And so I'm looking on Travelocity or whatever, and the only thing that's in that city that's like right next to Smith Rock, it was like shitty hotels that were really expensive. So Motel 6 being one of them was $100 a night for a Motel 6.
You spent $100 a night?
For a Motel 6, yeah.
Ew.
And it was your standard Motel 6. Actually, it was worse.
God.
Well, I don't know. I don't stay in Motel 6s too often, so I don't know if it was really all that different. But so I get there, and I, do some filming that I wanted to do for the video I wanted to make, and get my stuff all laid out. And I'm actually, looking pretty good. Must have been like 9:30 or something, maybe 10 o'clock at the latest, and I was in bed. And I was like, okay, great. And I like lay down, shut the lights off. I forget what I'm watching on TV, but it's just some random show. And then I hear a dog bark.
Oh no.
And I'm like, dude,
David
fuck. There's
is
like
the lightest sleeper ever.
Yeah.
Like we have to use separate blankets. Like we can't touch at all. He is the lightest sleeper.
Yep. And I heard a dog bark, and that set off a chain reaction of like 7 other dogs barking. And I was just like, oh shit, like it's going to be one of those nights. And sure enough, there was a lot of dogs barking throughout the night.
Oh no.
So I don't know. I actually didn't get too bad of sleep. I probably, I don't know, maybe like 5 hours total, which it wasn't too bad because I had to wake up early anyways. I woke up at 5:30. Even though the race started at 8 a.m., you had to take a shuttle from, whoops, sorry. You had to take a shuttle from Smith Rock Ranch, which is I think like a couple miles away from the park, and then the shuttle would take you into the park because there's limited parking, yada yada yada. So I had to do that.
Could you pick your bib up the night before, or did you have to get it the day of?
Yeah, you could pick it up in Bend, Oregon the night before.
Were you just too late?
Yeah, I couldn't make it there
Yeah.
in time. So, and I didn't have a bib to pick up anyways. So,
Oh, duh. Yeah.
so I wanted to get there early because, yeah, day of race sign up and stuff. And the last thing I wanted to do was show up and then have, the race be full.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up early. The shuttle, I missed the first shuttle. I was the first person that they turned away on the shuttle.
Oh, no.
They're like, yep, we're full, sorry. So I stood there and it was really cold. And you don't want to bring a bunch of stuff with you because you
Starting
can't carry
the race,
it.
yeah.
So, but I did have a finish line bag, so I was able to put some stuff in that. And then, yeah, I took the shuttle. I got there and I hadn't really seen the park yet, so I had no idea really what it looked like. And I showed up, and it's just like this huge face, like this huge rock face. And
He did
it was
send me a
awesome.
picture of that, and that was really pretty.
Yeah, and I mean, there was like a little party going on and everything at like the start area. And so I talked to the race director about doing the day of race sign up, and they were cool with it. And it was a little lame because they didn't have change. They told me, they prefer cash. And so I brought some cash to pay for the race, which was like $125, I think, for day of race sign up. And they didn't have change. And so I'm like, well, can I buy a shirt too then? So I bought a shirt as well, which was fine because I was going to buy one anyways, even though it's pretty ugly. Did not like the color scheme
Oh, yeah,
of
that
that
shirt is a little weird.
It's
Like reminds me of The Simpsons or something weird.
yeah, it's kind of a weird color. Don't like it. But anyways.
It's like bright blue and bright orange.
Yeah. So I did that, and I had to wait around for a while after that. And then everyone congregated, and we went off. When I say we went off, I mean the gun to start went off. And then like the 300
You
people
walked.
that are there, no, I stood there and waited.
Oh,
Like it wasn't
no.
even, I mean, I know we talked about, the Sun Mountain where I had to stop when we first got on a single track. With this, I hadn't even gone through the start line yet, and was stopped. Like I didn't even get to go. I couldn't even start walking until like 40 seconds.
Were you middle of the pack, or where did you start at?
I was like middle back of the pack, so like the last like third probably, which was a mistake. I should have been further up because it was pretty frustrating. Like, I mean, I didn't realize it would be that clogged, but it was crazy. I mean, it was just straight up clogged. Like, I think when I went through, because I filmed it, like when I went through the first half of it, or the first, when I went through the first, whatever, the actual start line, when I got to the start line, it like a minute had already gone by. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, like this is insane. And then you just run down this big hill. And, of course, there's a bunch of people whose knees hurt and whatever, especially in the back, that don't want to run fast. And, it's not too great to bomb the first hill of a ultra. But when I feel like I'm already behind because I was stuck behind a bunch of people, which is kind of silly because I'm not running fast anyways. But still. So I bobbed and weaved down the hill and kind of passed a lot of people. And but it's really cool because you run down kind of in this valley down to this river before kind of going around the rock face. And the weather was perfect. It was chilly in the morning. The sun was out though. It was a little exposed. And yeah, I mean, I felt really good the first half of the race pretty much. So it was a little harder than I was thinking it was going to be. especially after Alicia told me it was runnable. I was trying, so I had a goal in mind of this race, which I'm kind of bummed that I didn't meet it. Obviously, finish. That was first and foremost. That wasn't an option. Like, finishing had to happen for my mental state and like other reasons. I just couldn't DNF another race. I needed to make sure, or prove to myself, I'm like, okay, you are still capable of doing this thing that you do. And so I really wanted to make sure that I finished this. And but I also thought, I'm in decent shape in terms of really, as far as running is concerned and ultras and stuff, like I don't want to say like killing my training, but I've been doing some relatively quick.
How dare him?
Yeah, I've been doing some relatively quick, like longer runs. And so I felt, sub 6 hours was very reasonable for this race. And really, I was hoping to do sub 5.5. Like, I was thinking like 5:20 was the time that I was shooting for. And I thought, hey, that'd be an hour PR over my previous 50K record. And so, yeah, I thought it wouldn't be too hard to get. But that didn't end up happening. But we'll get to that. So the first half of the race, I felt good. I was on pace for pretty much what I wanted to do, I think. And the race itself consists of pretty much 3 big climbs and then 3 big descents as well. And so basically midway through that second climb is when things started to not be so great for me. Like, my legs started to feel dead and really heavy. And definitely, I remember mile.
Were you on the hill when you texted me saying not doing well?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
it was like mile 22 or like mile 23.
Anytime after that, I wasn't doing good. So I think it was mile 16 actually was when my legs just were dead. And I don't know if it was because of like all the races before. Or like just no, they just felt like heavy and like they didn't want to go anymore, and they hurt. It was like painful. Mm-hmm. And my feet hurt really bad for some reason. It was just like my legs ached, which normally my legs are not an issue until like way later in a race. And like Sun Mountain, where I had done more climbing in 20 miles than I did this whole race, I felt fine. My pace was definitely a lot slower on Sun Mountain, but I mean, physically I felt great. I mean, I ran the day after Sun Mountain and I felt great. But this, for some reason, yeah, which again, maybe it was just because of, I had been doing hard running the past couple weeks, like Tiger Claw and then Sun Mountain back to back. And I had been doing, some somewhat difficult training runs. So maybe it was that. Maybe it was just like the stress of the trip and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I thought I was in good shape to perform, but apparently not. So yeah, I pretty much hit a brick wall at mile 16 and didn't really climb over it until like mile 28 or so.
Wow. So
it was a lot of just walk running. It was frustrating because there was downhill. There's specifically, I don't remember when, maybe it's like the lower 20s, but there's like this gravel road that, I mean, normally I would just bomb down and hope to clock 7-something minute miles. And, bomb for me is 7-something minute miles. I'm sure that's a lot slower than a lot of people, but anyways, I had to walk because my legs were just hurting. I mean, I didn't have to walk, but I had resigned myself to walking at that point because I still had a long ways to go. And I was just like, ugh. Just trudging through this kind of death marching of 50K, which, yeah, that was a little bit of a humbling experience. So I was kind of bummed out that it didn't really go the way that I wanted it to because I thought I had more in me. So like I said, I felt pretty bad up until I did the last climb, which again, that's when I messaged Alicia and I was like, dude, fuck this. This is bullshit. This climb sucks.
Did she reply?
Yeah. She was just like, in all caps, she was like, dude, right? Or something. You're like, I know. So yeah, that was rough. And it was definitely harder than I thought it was going to be too. Like on paper, it looks not that hard for me. Like it's a perfect race for me. It's just like good, not a lot of flat, a lot of varied terrain, just up and down, up and down. And you know, for me, it's like I could hike fast and then bomb the down, hike fast, bomb the down. That was the plan, and didn't really work out. So at like mile 28, when I did get to the top of that, I was able to run again. Like I kind of got like a second wind, probably because the end was somewhat within sight, you know, within like 3 or 4 miles. So I started booking it, and I passed like probably 30 or 40 people, I swear.
Really?
Yeah.
Was
you know,
it downhill?
The point that I started to run at, it was like pretty much flat and a little bit of up, and then it went down. So pretty much throughout that whole time, and especially the downhill, the last downhill, which is like maybe a mile and a half of just like straight down. Yeah, I was bombing that. So I picked up a lot of time, and because I was probably on pace to finish at 7 hours, and that's what I had resigned myself to. I'm like, great, it's going to be like a 7 hour finish. Like, shit, that kind of sucks, but whatever. And so I ended up finishing 6:39 was my overall finish time, which, you know, is kind of in line with my other 50K finishes, which is kind of disappointing because I thought I was a little bit better than that. Because, I mean, one of my PR 50Ks is that 100 miler, which is stupid, I think.
That's so crazy that that was your PR. But you did really well in that race.
Well, yeah, I thought because I hadn't ran an ultra since then, I'm like, okay, definitely I can do better than I did during a 100-mile run. But apparently not. So, yeah, I finished with my legs cramping really badly. So that downhill that I was bombing, I started to cramp up a little bit. But overall, I came in at 6:39, and I felt, you know, happy that I finished, but a little bummed that at the time was not quite what I wanted it to be. And yeah, I was ready to get home pretty much. I was just like, all right, I want to get something to eat and drink and then go home. So
what did you have to eat and drink?
They had a burrito bar there that I did not partake in.
I was going to say, you ate their food?
And then they had beer, and I don't drink, so that also wasn't too great. They had some they had milk. Or
Ew,
chocolate milk.
That's disgusting.
Which, yeah, did not sound appealing to me either, so I just drank some water.
Was it cold?
No.
Oh, well.
So I drank some water, and then I just waited to get on the shuttle, which unfortunately the shuttle took forever.
Too many people.
No. It didn't show up for a long time. So, and it was like me and a ton of other people had been sitting there and waiting for like quite a while, like at least 15 minutes. And yeah, then I got to my car, and actually the coolest person I met was on the shuttle. There's some bigger guy that we both joked about bombing the downhills using our momentum. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Got to my car, changed, and then started the 5-hour drive. And it was funny because at that time it was like the exact same time I had left the day before. So yeah, that was pretty much the race.
Value of the race.
Okay, so we want to start rating this now.
Hi, baby.
For value,
just in case you're wondering, if you're not watching, our cat is up on the table with us. He's going to ruin everything right now.
You should move him. He's going to knock that over. So, anyways, value. I don't remember the pricing structure but it's definitely cheaper if you sign up earlier. For $125 for day race sign up, I don't know. It's okay. I guess kind of a standard value, I would say, like mid tier, so like 7 out of 10 probably for the value.
Okay. 8 stations.
The aid stations were great. the Wyeast Wolfpack or whatever was there again. Yassine Daboon. And they were great. And you got to hit their aid station twice.
He was there for the 100-miler too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think he'll be at Western States this year running. So good luck to him.
What kind of stuff did they have?
They had a bunch of stuff at that aid station. I pretty much stuck with, I didn't eat almost anything.
I do remember you telling me that. That's the one thing he told me is that he hardly ate.
Which, hey, maybe that's why I had such a bad day. It was probably my shitty nutrition.
He said something about like oranges.
Yeah, I ate maybe like 2 or 3 orange slices. And I had like 2 or 3. Basically, I would have a little cup of Coke with because it's a cupless race. I would drink a little bit of Coke at each of the aid stations, and there was 4 aid stations. So I had like 4 things of Coke and an orange, like maybe 3 orange slices.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that was it. So definitely did not.
Any tailwind?
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you had nothing.
Yeah.
Was it hot?
It did get pretty hot. Yeah, I got sunburned kind of bad. But again, I'm a fair-skinned boy, and so that was kind of to be expected. But
Did your ears get sunburned?
no, luckily not. But I think my hair was kind of long enough to cover them a little bit. Maybe not. So, yeah.
All right. Volunteers, kind of same with aid station.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't rate the
Oh, sorry.
aid station. But yeah, volunteers and aid station, should probably combine those. I don't know, 10 out of 10. They were good.
Cool.
Well, 9 out of 10. They weren't perfect.
Okay.
They weren't perfect, but they were pretty good.
Okay.
I would say, I mean, I know some people like it, but man, I think they used none as well. And that just
I've
doesn't
never
taste very
had
good.
that. I don't even know. Like, I don't think I've ever had that.
Yeah.
Accessibility, getting there, parking.
They did what they had to do with the shuttle, and the shuttle was super nice. So I'm not going to knock them for that. And they said there is a shuttle and blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, I don't know. It didn't like frustrate me or anything like that. So
Was it stressful?
not really.
Because
No.
you got there early enough. You were fine.
Yeah. So I'd say again, probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Okay. So the course, the difficulty, terrain, all that.
The course was beautiful. I think the 15-mile would be better because I do think there are some sections of this that, I don't know, they aren't that great. And the 15-mile, I think you just get to see basically all the cool parts of Smith Rock State Park.
Is the 15-miler like a certain, how do I say this? Like, do you go out like 7.5 and then come back, or what is
it
that?
Out and back?
Well, I mean, like, is it part of the 50-mile course or the 50K's course, or is it like a
Yeah,
totally
it runs
different?
on some of the same course.
So it's not the full like same course. It's a couple of different turn-offs.
Yeah, it's different distances.
I just meant like the 7.5 miles. Is it the exact same as the 7.5 for the 50K?
No, neither are out and backs either.
Okay.
They're both loops,
That's what I meant.
and they're different
Okay.
slightly, I think. I mean, I didn't look at
So-
the 15-mile that deeply, but I saw the course marking out there for the 15-mile.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah, I mean, the trails are beautiful. I mean, like I said, I think I would probably do the 15-mile instead of the 50K. So I don't know. I'd probably rate the trails, I don't know, like an 8 out of 10. They were definitely awesome. I liked them a lot.
All right. Well, pre and post activities.
They were great. Again, I didn't participate in the pre-race bib pickup the night before. But they had a bunch of tents and everything set up at the start and finish. And like I said, they had a burrito bar. And there was tons of people there. And yeah, I liked it a lot. 8 out of 10.
Swag.
I'll tell you what, Go Beyond is a lot like a business or more business focused race directing than say like Destination Trail or Rain Shadow. At least from what I've seen, it seems like it's more of a business.
you're going to get fed soon.
And because of that, they have a lot of swag and a lot of different stuff. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. Of course, it doesn't come with it. I think all you get as a finisher is not even a pint glass, but just this glass cup. And, yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I don't really care about them. But, yeah, they do have cool bibs as well. I think I have that hanging up, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know where that is. But, yeah, I don't know. 7 out of 10 for that as well.
All right. What would you say was your favorite part of the race?
Probably the first 3 miles. First
Really?
3 miles, super cool, super pretty. Yeah.
Your least favorite part? The last climb?
No, I mean, I think really my least favorite part of the race as a whole is just the amount of people that were in it. So, again, this is the same as Rain Shadows race, where this race, I think they allowed like 300 something people in it. And I mean, dear God, they really should have cut it down to like 100 or 150.
I just think that they should do like
At the very least, they need to run it in waves.
waves, yeah.
And same for Sun Mountain, where it's just like, dude, I cannot. It's just so silly to me to start a race and then just have to wait a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's standard practice for some road races, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like having that many people run, it just impacts the trails too negatively, because inevitably you're going to have a ton of people that are
off trails.
Yeah, they're off trail trying to pass people, and
Yeah.
or if you don't want to be in the way of people, so you step off the trail and let
Yeah.
people pass. And I don't know. I think doing it in waves would be much, much better, or better yet, just reduce the number of entries that are allowed, because that definitely detracts from the race. And I think it makes the trail running community, when there are races like this, look a little bad, because it's like damaging to the trails in some ways, at least from what I've seen out on the trail. Definitely a lot of people going off trail to try to get around people. So
We didn't really talk about this for the last race we did, but your gear. What'd you wear? Did you enjoy what you wore?
yeah, I kind of wore my standard setup, except this time I wore Path Projects boxer briefs, or whatever they are. I don't know, liners. I wore them as underwear. And then I wore some Patagucci shorts. That's Patagonia, for those unaware of what that is. But and that combo was perfect. No chafing at all. I did lube up before the race started with some Squirrel's nut butter on my undercarriage, that whole area, and it worked awesome. I mean, I didn't have a single problem. And the day after, like when I took a shower, well, I guess it was the day whenever I got home, I took a shower and there was no burning or anything like that anywhere. So, and that's a good sign of not having chafing anywhere. And so the gear worked perfectly. Yeah, I
Good.
had a great time.
Good. I think that's really all we've got. What do you have coming up next?
Oh, well, I would say, so the race as a whole, I'll do a little summary before we move on from that.
Sounds good.
I would say this is probably like a 7.5 out of 10, maybe even an 8 out of 10 in
Pretty
my
high.
books.
That's good.
Oh yeah, it's a great race. I would definitely recommend it. I had a great time. Again, like I said, Go Beyond. They put on a good event. Like I said, it does seem like they're there to have a business, but they put out a good product. So I'll keep buying.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, that was my short little summary.
All right. So what do you got coming up next?
Well, what do we have coming up next? Is the
50K.
question. Yeah. What is it, the Y East
Yep.
Howl?
Oh,
Or
I don't know
Wise
if
Wonder.
It's the howl. I don't know.
Guess
We
I
got to
can
look it up.
on Ultrasign up, but yep. So when is that? June 15th?
Yep. 3 weeks away or so.
Something like that. That was
Yeah,
another
I'm
thing that
pretty-
sucked about the race I just did, Smith Rock, is they spelled my name wrong. So on Ultra Sign Up, it now says David Burslin with an N instead of an M.
Always?
So it doesn't show up.
Or just that
Oh,
race?
it does show up now. I had to request it to be changed. Anyways, yeah, so we're doing the Y East Wonder in Parkdale, Oregon on June 15th. That's the next race. Maybe that one I'll go sub 6.
I
Hopefully.
don't even know the...
I have no clue what is up with this race. I know nothing about it.
I was just going to say, yeah, me either.
Who, and then after that, it's Never Summer.
Yeah, after Y East Wonder, for me, I'm pretty much done. I just focus on David's bigger runs and crewing him and pacing him. So we did sign up for something also, the last person standing, but that's not until October, so a while away.
Yeah,
He's got some big stuff. His
There's some
200
big
and his
ones.
100K.
Yeah, so I'll be doing the 50K coming up next month, June 15th, a couple weeks away. And then Never Summer, July 27th,
Then
which
he's
is
got
100K in Colorado.
50 miler.
And then I've got Squamish 50 miler, mid-August. And then in September, it's the big dog,
Big dog
the
200.
Tahoe 200. Although I don't know. I mean, between Never Summer and Tahoe, I don't know which one's going to be harder.
Never
Probably
summer.
Tahoe.
Oh, really?
I think Tahoe is mentally going to be more challenging.
Yeah, that's probably true. Although,
Never Summer is just going to be physically hard as shit.
yeah, that's true. But I think, I don't know why, but I think that Tahoe, because you have your friends, like maybe it won't be.
I'm definitely looking more forward to Tahoe.
Yeah.
Because I think Tahoe's
Yeah.
going to be a good time.
Because, just like kind of fun in the woods with your friends.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be plenty of suffering.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But Never Summer, Jimmy's coming. So.
Oh, that's right. Jimmy's going to pace you for that. I forgot. Yeah, that'll be fun. Is he going to pace you? He is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Y East, June 15th.
And we're
That's
both
pretty
doing that.
much. Yeah, yeah.
Are
we
you ready to run a 50K?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's not very far away.
No, it's
Hey,
not.
let's go beyond
3
as well.
weeks. Look at that.
Oh, another go beyond race. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all we've got.
This race looks like it's probably hard.
Oh, great.
Well, the winning time last year was 6 hours and 40 minutes.
Huh.
So that's...
What's the cutoff?
Oh, wait. Okay. That's probably for the 50 miler. That would make a lot more sense.
Is it for the 50?
Okay, yeah. That was for the 50 miler. Whew, that scared me. Okay, yeah. The winning time last year was
3 hours.
3:47.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's more in line with like Smith Rock.
Go to the female. We'll just hit women's on the side.
5 hours.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways, yeah, that's what's coming up.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good job. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I would have been there, but it definitely looked pretty.
Yeah, the area was beautiful, but tell you what I don't like is people waiting around for me while I run races.
Yeah, I can feel that because I definitely didn't like it when I ran my backcountry. Just felt stressed the whole time, or like bad for them because I was taking longer, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes me want to quit more when I know that it's like I could just leave and go do something else with you as opposed to like having you wait on me. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about doing that in the future, which I guess we'll be doing a lot of.
I was going to say, it's not really going to stop.
Yeah. Well, it's different when somebody's going to pace you as opposed to just like they're just going to be there waiting the whole day.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's it pretty much. I mean,
yeah, that's all we got.
again, another kind of a doozy. I mean, a dud. Not so much a doozy. Another kind of a dud episode here, but you got a 2 for 1, even though they were both kind of not so great. But hopefully 2 not so great episodes equals 1 okay episode. So you're welcome.
God. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
We probably
Bye.
shouldn't film these at night anymore either.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? Well, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time
Episode 15 next time.
after the Wise Wonder.
Yeah.
After I win the Wise Wonder. All right.
All right. Bye.
See you.